welcome back to Barely Built Right, where the stuff I build is not perfect. In fact, it is barely built right. Today we are going to be making some side skirts for the canyon out of gutter. That's right, rain gutter from a house. At Home Depot, they've got a few different styles of gutter to choose from. You can get metal, you can get plastic or PVC, which is what I'm using here. There's a few different shapes, and I've decided to go with one that I feel looks most like a side skirt, with some of the smoother edges instead of the sharper lines. I've also got a couple strips of aluminum here. These are going to be used for stabilizing brackets later. And then I've also ordered some inexpensive bits from Amazon, these little Aero pieces. These are going to add a little bit of flair to the side skirt, make them look a little more high-end and custom. I've got some self-tapping screws, my drill, my sander, a grinder, and a jigsaw. Let's dig into this. First step is to measure how long you want to make your side skirts and cut them to length. I've already measured on the truck how long I feel like they need to be, and we're going to make a couple marks here before we cut. You can use a variety of things to mark this line. I just happen to have my contour gauge sitting nearby, so I use that to make a straight edge across my cutting line. And we'll cut this off. This doesn't need to be dead perfect. We're going to clean it up afterwards as well. You can also put end caps that are fitted for these. So I don't need this looking absolutely perfect. I'm going to clean up the edges a little bit with my grinder before test fitting it on the truck. Now that I fit between the wheels, I need to see what kind of cutouts I need to allow for the flares that you've seen in the previous video, as well as little changes in the body or along the pinch weld. I'm going to measure how far in the flares go and get a rough idea of where I need to cut the skirts to allow for them, both front and rear. And then I'm going to mark this out on the skirts themselves. Now, when I'm making these initial marks, this isn't an exact science, and I'm going a little bit smaller than what I need to do. You can always remove more material. It's a lot harder to put it back. So I'm going to freehand about where I think it needs to be, and then we'll trim from there once I do some more test fitting. Holding it back up to the truck, you can see we're getting a little bit closer, but it's still not quite sitting where I need, but this helps me get a better visual of where I need to pull some more material out. Now we're getting closer. Once we're finished trimming, we're going to switch out to a nut driver, and we're going to run some self-tappers under the rocker panel and through the topmost edge of the skirt. Once the skirt is hanging, we're going to cut our metal strip into two pieces, and I'm going to fasten this under the frame to provide support to keep the skirts from buffeting or from vibrating in the wind. These also stiffen the skirts up against people kicking them and other things coming into contact. Here you can see where I've attached them to the underside of the frame rails. That attachment point is going to be different depending on your vehicle. Once I've got everything mocked up, it's time to take it all off. And we're just going to shoot it with some black paint for now. Again, once I get the entire kind of wide body done, we're going to be doing a final paint on everything. But for now, I'm just going to sand them down and shoot them quick just to make them black until we get to the final paint. Next, we're going to install the Aero bits. There's not a real science to this. I'm just kind of holding them up and seeing where they look good and just running some screws in. That about wraps up these custom side skirts that I made from House Gutter. Total cost ended up being about $68 for each side. That's total. So very inexpensive, $10 a piece for the gutters and less than $20 for each pair of the Aero bits. I think it turned out great. You can also add some end caps, which I plan to do here, that are made for the gutter. I'll trim those down and glue those on to fit. Keep an eye out for more videos pertaining to this build as we finish up the baby wide body on Project Black Sheep.